leaders. Welcome into the Sandbox. I am Tammy J, your host of the Leadership Sandbox Podcast, and excited that you're joining me today. So welcome back. Today, we're going to dig in deep, and we're going to dig in deep to what really matters around hiring for values, right? Values alignment to build the culture that you want so that the culture that you have doesn't crumble under pressure. And today, we're talking all about something that I believe a lot of leaders think that they're doing right, or they hope, fingers crossed, that they're doing it right, but end up having to clean up in the end a huge mess later on after they make a pretty major hiring mistake for leadership positions. See, listen, hiring leadership based on skill instead of alignment is where we get into challenges and problems. So we're talking about how to stop that cycle today. So I want you to get ready to step into the sandbox, get your pen and paper, and get ready to get some new tools on how to hire someone that is for alignment, not just skill, and how to attract those people who reinforce the values you say you want modeled in your organization, in your company, in your business today. We're going to get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's go to the sandbox. Hey, leader, if you're navigating tough conversations and it feels like a struggle, I want you to know I've got you covered. I've got your back. I've created a communication starter pack designed to give leaders and managers the tools that they need to communicate with confidence, clarity, and real impact. So I want you to head on over to bondgroupenterprises.com and grab your starter pack today. It's time to lead conversations that matter and get the results you deserve. So friends, have you ever hired someone who looked really great on paper, slick looking resume, confident in their interview? They were on point answering every question. And then you hired them in because you thought this is the right person. They have all of the skills that we need for the position. And then in the first 90 days, your team's gone silent. The culture went sideways. You've got complaints to HR, even legal complaints on bad behavior. And yet you're looking at them going, wow, how did we make that hiring mistake? Is it the person we hired, or is it because the team is locked on to some way they think that it should be? Listen, friend, it's usually because it's a values mismatch. And it also is a hiring mistake that you want to move quickly on. When people come in and in the first 90 days, the culture in your company or in the team that they're leading drastically changes for the negative, for the worse, you've made a hiring mistake. And I'm all about slow to hire, quick to fire. So when you notice that, you want to be on top of it first before that 90 days expires, so you're not locked in. Because some states, after that 90 days, you're locked into that person. And getting rid of them or moving them on into other opportunities might prove to be more difficult. So first 90 days is super important, because when you hire leaders that don't align with your values, they don't just show up wrong and create culture that's wrong or that's difficult. They lead others in the opposite or wrong direction of what you're wanting. And that can take months to clean up. And when that impacts at a very deep level your culture that you've had well and established in place, then the damage to that is you can have higher turnover, quick turnover of people you don't want to lose. And so I want to encourage you this way. I want you to take a look at your hiring decisions. Are you hiring for behavior? Are you hiring for skill? Are you hiring because, oh, that's someone that's really like me? I had somebody that asked me to do a working genius assessment with their team recently. And it was actually kind of a redo of an assessment. And I love the Working Genius assessment to talk about productivity in teams and how we can align our productivity and our geniuses. It's not personality based, which I love that as well. And what was interesting is they had a whole transition in their team. And what this person did is they actually went and hired people that had the same geniuses as they did. All the four people, new hires, all the same. So they hired the same person that was like them. So if we were to reflect a mirror, behavior-wise, patterns of behavior and work-wise, they were all going to be exactly the same. And where that gets into trouble is they were missing the mark on having those creative minds, having the follow-through minds, having the people that thought about people, right? Thought about how are we going to get the work done. They missed that in their hiring, because the leader that did the hiring hired the likability factor, hired because they interviewed well and they heard the goals of the people and they thought, oh, those are goals that I want, so we must be aligned. Nope. Not so. And what we missed was hiring for the behaviors and hiring for the values alignment. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team plays out. I'm going to go in and do some work with them, and we'll see. We'll see how the mindset of the individuals are. But it's already showing that there are some cracks in the sidewalk with the hiring decisions that the leader made. What is also another interesting story I wanted to share with you is that I worked with an organization once that brought in this, absolutely consider him rock star in the as an ops director. They had all the credentials, they had all of the pedigrees, they had all the paperwork, all managed multi-million-dollar accounts, and like did all the portfolio aspects of the resume build was impeccable. So they hired the person, but within 3 months, 90 days, less than, they had middle managers under this director that were disengaged for the first time, that were sitting silent and quiet, and work productivity dropped incredibly, and communication went completely still, silent. And why was that? Because the person that they brought in to lead led with power, not collaboration. And the team was used to a collaborative approach to their leadership. And when you have a leader that comes in and bulldozes the very values that the company or the team claims to uphold and or has been honoring and modeling, and they work in opposition to that, it erodes the culture that you've built, and it actually causes a huge erosion in the team. And it can be hard. And this is where the organization got to, is they had to make a decision. What do we do? Thankfully, they moved this individual on quickly, right? They just presented them into another opportunity. And then we went back to the drawing table of what are we hiring for? What are the behaviors? And we taught that. And so there were 3 core shifts that they made once they realized, okay, wait, now we have another vacancy. And actually 4, because the biggest shift came in the mindset of the leadership to look at it and go, okay, well, we're embarrassed that we made the wrong hire. How do we overcome that? Can we work with that person? No, they've shown their true colors. The team is not performing even as well as they were without leadership. So what you've brought in here is a dynamic that doesn't fit. Here's how we communicate it. So I laid out for them how to communicate it internally, and then what the steps were, and it ended up working out beautifully. And what was interesting is that ops director that was hired, they actually saw it as well, but they were trying so hard to fit in a culture and in a way that they couldn't, that in there trying to fit in, they recognize this isn't the right fit. So it was kind of a relief for all. And sometimes we just want to have those bold conversations about, hey, how's this working for you? Here's some of the things that I see. And when we have those conversations, we then can get to, thank you for your time. We appreciate you. We're going to let you out into a new opportunity. Or we could also see where maybe tweaks can happen. It's rare. In that first 90 days, people reveal themselves. Trust it. Trust it. So here are the 3 shifts the core shifts that I want to invite you to look at and take when you hire for alignment, behavioral alignment, values alignment. You want to start with this. What are your culture anchors? Not just as a job description, but what are the culture anchors that you're looking for? Before you even post that job anywhere, I want you to sit down and ask your team, what kind of human do we need here? What kind of human being do we need in the human doing of this role? What are those behaviors that we're looking for? Not just skill sets. Yes, skill, that's important. However, I can train skill, but if behaviors and values are out of alignment, can't train for that. So I want it to be more about not just what they do, but how they show up, how they engage, how they lead. It's the how, not the what, that I want you focused on when you're looking at that. I also want you to think about, what are the non-negotiables from a values-based perspective? What are the non-negotiables from a behavior-based perspective? Do you want them to have courage, curiosity, accountability? You want them to be direct? Do you want them to be clear in communication? What are the non-negotiables for you? And how does that show up? How do you know you've got it when you've got it? That's up to you and your current leadership team to sit down and navigate with you. I'm going to say this very boldly. I don't believe that that's to be left to HR, because HR's function is to go out and find the person you know that the role needs, not what they say that it needs. And I have many friends in HR, and I love you for your role. And what is needed is for you as leaders to come together to align on what those non-negotiables are from a behavior-based approach that you're looking for, not just skill set. And listen, if if it's not modeled currently in your leadership, it's not going to be multiplied in your team. So if you say that curiosity, and we want to be really strong with our discovery questions before we get into decision-making mode, and that's something that's a non-negotiable, that's something you want to model in your leadership and have that as the expectation of a behavior of what we do. And then it will be absorbed into your culture, and it will be multiplied by your team. All right. Number two on your three strategies here for the course shifts, I want you to interview for story, not just skill. And that's something kind of unique, I think. Here's why I believe that, because behavior tells us more than the bullet points ever could. So when we are interviewing for the storyline, the origin story, you might have heard it said that way. It starts like this: ask the question, right? Tell me about a time that you were had to or got to address a teammate who wasn't upholding the team values or who wasn't hitting the timelines. I would start with a values question, right? I want you to look for emotional intelligence as well. Look for discomfort. Look for how they protect culture in their stories that they tell, not just complete tasks. I just recently was with an organization, and they hired based on someone that they thought could really advance tasks and get them completed, and totally 1000% missed cultural alignment and values alignment. And they are paying the price for it right now. And so I love it when I get invited in to come in and address those things, because I know how to. I know how to get leaders in alignment. I know how to help bring behaviors in alignment and get it clear on what is the culture that we are wanting to protect and build up. I love that. But golly, I really wish that leaders would learn this so that we don't make the hiring mistakes. Because here's what happens when we make a hiring mistake. Can we communicate around it? Can we get into alignment on the other side of it to get to seek forgiveness after the fact? Absolutely. Can we pull people together? Yes. But those things start to tear at the fabric of the organizational culture. That's the healthy part. And it creates these little tears in it. And then you're putting Band-Aids on them, and you're hoping people heal from it. And depending on their emotional intelligence, either they will or they won't, but it causes people to question you. And the last thing we want in today's world economy is for a bunch of our team members constantly questioning us as leaders about our ethics, about what we model, about do we have their back? Can they trust us? We want people to come in. They're going to give more to you when they know that they can trust you and you have their back. And so you want to make sure when you're making the hiring, you want to look for emotional intelligence. You want to look for the conversation points that make someone uncomfortable, right? Look for where that discomfort shows up in how they talk about culture, protecting culture and their values. You'll see it. It'll be very clear. Number three, I want you to try what I'm calling the sandbox session before you hire. If you don't do this already, friends, give finalists a real world scenario in your environment and let them lead a mini team interaction with you. You're now the team members. Here's the real world scenario. Tell me how you would lead this with us if we're your subordinates. It's a fire of an opportunity to show real world how they perform in that setting. You might even bring in other people that they don't know yet, right? Bring in others, which is really fun to do, that can come in and be the team, and that they're going to lead through a real world interaction, like a real world dilemma scenario that they're going to solve for you. And watch how they speak, how they listen, how they redirect, how they use discovery questions, how they reinforce tone, how they navigate. Are they in the telling mode or are they in the asking mode when it comes to leading a team interaction? Because this is the piece that I want you to know about resumes. They don't reveal this kind of behavior pattern, right? But when you go into the sandbox session, you're going to find out what the behaviors are, real world, real time, right now. It's a firecracker of an opportunity for you, and I hope that you'll take advantage of it. So here's my bold challenge for you. I want you to not just do a job posting. I want you to post a mission. Create the jobs to be about mission driven and write it that way. Make it clear. We're hiring leaders who protect and promote our values, like it's their own house on the line, like it's their own business, like it's their own family. Take family out of it, because I actually heard Cody Sanchez say something really great in an episode she did a few weeks ago. And I'll have to share the link with you about let's not make it all about family because it was like, it actually shifted my perspective. Great episode, Cody. But I want you to look at hiring leaders that are protecting and promoting your values. But first, you got to know what your core values are, right? And you know that I've got a resource for that over on the website. So don't hesitate to go get it. Because here in the Sandbox at Leadership Sandbox, I want you to know this. We don't just need the skills. What we need and want, more importantly, is the alignment, because that's the way to turn strategy into healthy culture. And healthy culture is what we're going for. So if this hits home with you, I want you to share this episode with a friend. You know that third-party affirmations go a long way in today's world economy. So if this resonates with you, share it with someone in the hiring seat for your company right now, right? Sit down with your team and say, what are we doing well? Where are we missing? And gosh, do we have somebody that we missed the expiration date, or they've reached their expiration date and we might have gone over the 90 days. How do we move them on because they're impacting the culture? And don't forget that leadership is not about being liked. It's about leaving something worth following. It's about developing the skill set that others want to follow. So thank you for taking time in the Sandbox today. I know that leadership is not something you're born with. It's something that you grow into. And you took time to grow into that next level of leadership in the Sandbox today. And I thank you for that. And may your next hiring adventure be exactly what you want and need it to be. May you actually achieve that hiring alignment that we're going for, not just for skill, but seeking out those behaviors that you want more of. Make it a great day. God bless you.